Yes.
Have a quorum.
Pledge of
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
Notice of meeting was given in the following matter. Notice of meeting was transmitted to Holders Tribune. Said notice of meeting and a copy of the agenda were filed with the Office of City Clerk on May 20th, 2016. And said notice of meeting and a copy of the agenda were prominently posted in the announcement board in the lobby of City Hall, at least 78 Bayard Street, at least 48 hours prior to the date of this meeting.
All right, minutes, we're going to present next Monday.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll go to new business. All right, so we'll jump to resolution number 14.
14?
Yeah.
Resolution 14 is acting as redevelopment authority. Resolution approving lease termination agreement between the Housing Authority of the City of New Brunswick and Professional Leasing Partners, Inc.
Is that what we-
Yes, we had the Housing Authority as a redevelopment agency since 1994, as a long-term lease with professional leasing. It's in the university on Easton Avenue, the University Center project, where Rutgers has the dorms above. So they have been paying us a lease rental. We've been paying the debt service on the debt. There was a 30-year bond that paid for the whole project, of which the retail portion is about 3%. Professional leasing has determined that they no longer want to continue leasing. They do have 6 tenants there now, so it's completely rented, but they've decided that they've really had enough, and I think it's a small project for them, so they don't really want it anymore. So we've entered into a termination agreement with them. I'm going to terminate the lease. Number one, whatever, all the subleases get assigned to us, whatever cash they have as of the day they leave or collect, they're going to turn over to us in the next month. And the only issue that they have outstanding is because it's a condo, and Rutgers is running the condo, there's a dispute as to how much they owe Rutgers. This agreement says, we're not assuming any of that debt. Whatever you owe Rutgers, and we may have to pay some of it starting, when we take it over, we have to pay it. There may be a couple of months because of a lag, but other than that, the other money, which is over $100,000, we're not assuming any of that debt. That's his responsibility to work out with Rutgers, and we met with Rutgers, and there's a lot of issues with Rutgers because Rutgers was charging him for a reserve account that no one knows what happened to the money over all these years, so I think that thing is probably going to get resolved. So we want to terminate the agreement, and then, John, is the next resolution,
Yeah, correct. The next
resolution, we're entering into a lease with the parking authority. The parking authority has the retail, where Brother Jimmy's is, they have the retail right across the street. So we're entering into an agreement with them. What they're going to do is pay us $810,000. We're going to use that to pay off the debt, because the debt's like 5-6% debt. So we're using $794 to pay off the debt, so we'll no longer have any debt. The other $16,000 we'll use to help John with expenses. In addition, because we're paying off the debt, there's $126,000, what they call a debt service reserve fund, which you need. That money is going to come to the Housing Authority. So you're going to get $126,000 that you can use any way you want. The lease is a 25-year lease with the Parking Authority. They're going to refinance the debt, but they're going to refinance it right now for a short term. So the debt service, which now is about $120,000 a year, is going to go down to like $50,000 a year. And when they pay all of their expenses, plus a management fee to manage it, and they establish a reserve, because you need a reserve if you need improvements. Anything that's left over after that will be split 50-50 between the Parking Authority and the Housing Authority. So the end result is that you will no longer have any debt. You'll have $126,000 that you can use any way you want, and any profit that happens after they pay the expenses and establish a reserve will be split 50-50 between the Parking Authority and the Housing Authority.
Now, do they have an existing reserve?
No,
No.
there's no, they've got to build it up.
Oh,
Because
okay.
professional leasing had it before, and whatever money they have, they're gonna pay over to the Housing Authority, which we probably gonna have to use to try and settle with Rutgers from the beginning of the year.
So the issue with Rutgers is on the reserve, is that what it is?
No, Rutgers, this reserve will only be for the retail.
For the retail?
This
yeah.
condo is the dorms There's a parking deck run by Robert Wood Johnson and Rutgers, and the retail. The retail is 3% of the project.
Okay, yeah.
So there will be a condo association agreement between the housing authority and then the parking authority, we'll assume it, and Rutgers and Robert Wood Johnson.
Chair, you need a, I'm sorry, just a point of order. You're going to need a motion and a second in order to enter into discussions. I know that we kind of jumped the gun.
Sorry, okay.
The chair. So you still have the open, you still have it opened as needing a motion and a second. And then
Yeah, my
discussion.
question is on the first one.
Correct, yeah, even for the
Okay.
first resolution, you don't have a motion or a second.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So if you,
Okay, motion
I'll make a motion so we can discuss it.
I'll second.
okay, thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
okay, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, because, these two things go together if you don't speak with.
Now, you say Rutgers, I mean, the management owes some money to Rutgers.
They owe-
What was that?
That was for utilities, common expenses,
Oh, okay.
reserves, insurance.
Okay.
It's, unfortunately, this condo association, which was established back in 1994, hardly ever met.
Oh, okay.
They hardly ever met,
Oh,
so-
okay.
So Rutgers started to bill him, his tenants said, wait a minute, you're billing us too high, they refused to pay him, he refused to pay them. And so now we're trying to get this resolved with Rutgers, but none of that will be our responsibility.
Basically, they're asking him for back pay.
For back
Yeah,
pay.
yeah, okay.
And he's saying, wait a minute, you want back pay for reserves, what happened to all these reserves I paid for? And they can't seem to find what happened to the reserve. So, but that's not gonna be our problem. I mean, they may try and sue us independently because we're part of a condo association, but they have no
They're not going to
no
put
cost.
any
So
money.
so this is gonna go forward from June 1st. The parking authority has now went to the local finance board to sell the debt. We'll get the money by August 1st. And with John, you have enough money now to pay the July 1st debt.
Correct, yep. the
So
debt
there's enough
service.
money to pay the debt, and then on August 1st, we'll get enough money to pay off the bonds, which are $794,000. And you'll also get, the reserve fund is over, so you'll get $126,000, which you can use any way you want. And also, he'll be turning money over to us, but I think a lot of that will probably have to go to Rutgers. But
Can you specify where this property is at?
it's on Easton Avenue at University Center,
The door.
Across from the train
across
station.
from the train station.
Up
You-
above where they're tearing
Right
down.
there, right next to the train station. You know where Brother
Behind the
Jimmy's
train
is? It's
station.
right across the street. On
As you
Easton
head up
Avenue.
the hill.
Where they got the
Wall
fence.
Street, you and Wall Street.
No. So
they have,
we're heading up the hill, heading up Easton
Up the
Avenue.
hill.
There's
On the
a
left-hand
sushi-
side.
There's a
Oh,
There's
sushi
commercial,
place
there's
there.
commercial properties heading up that hill.
Yeah, those all new there.
No, these are
No, on
all,
the other side of the
on
street.
the other side of the
They
street.
built the new ones on this side, that's the side. They're on the other side,
The
where the
other side of
dorms
the
are,
street.
the residential
On the dorms
dorms are.
at the corner.
Right where the dorms are, it's right
Yeah.
below the dorms. And it's something that was a redevelopment project back in 1992 it started, and the leases started in 1994, because it took a couple of years to construct it.
So the housing authority is gonna take over the building.
Well, the housing authority always owned this retail space. What they're gonna do is, they leased it to professional leasing, leasing's giving it back to the
Back to
housing
us.
authority.
Okay.
The housing authority's not gonna lease it to the parking authority, because they run the mall across the street. The housing authority's gonna pay them a one-time payment of $810,000.
Get that debt off.
That's gonna take the
Get
debt,
all
so
the
the
debt
debt's
away.
gone.
Okay.
The debt service reserve of $125,000, $126,000 is gonna come to the housing authority to use however you want. And then if there's any profit, which will probably not happen in the first couple of years, because you gotta build up the reserve. The reserve's being built up in case you need some major facade improvements or things of that nature. If you will then split that 50-50 with them in the future, and you'll have no real liability. You don't have any, where right now you've got a debt service that's about $125,000 a year. As long as he was paying us, it was good, we could pay them, but now,
Yeah, I
since
get
he
that.
got somewhat shaky, it's the best from everybody's interest for us to terminate him and bring the parking authority in.
Oh, okay, I got it now. I got it.
Any other questions? Question from the public?
Yes, New Brunswick resident and editor of New Brunswick Today newspaper. I wanted to ask, what is the reference to the condo association? There's no condominiums in the building, right? Why would there ever be a condominium?
There is a
association?
condominium in the building. It consists of, condominium 1 is the Rutgers dorm, condominium 2 is the parking authority, is the parking deck, and condominium 3 is the retail.
Okay, so none are traditional condominiums.
They are,
No, no.
well, it's not, as you view it as a condominium residential, it's not.
Right.
But you can have commercial condominiums, they've been in existence for, 50 years.
Okay, and then my follow-up question is, why didn't the condo association board meet? That you said they.
I have no idea. We had nothing to do with that. That was professional leasing, Robert Wood Johnson and Rutgers. Why they didn't meet for years? You'd have to ask them.
Ask who? Robert Wood Johnson?
Either, any of them, they were the condo members, because I think it kind of went by itself. I don't know why.
Okay, I mean, I can ask some of these people, but isn't it true that Mr. Hoffman, you're involved in Robert Wood Johnson, right?
I am a member of the board of Robert Wood Johnson, but I have nothing to do with this transaction.
Can you direct
Robert
the
Wood
questions to
Johnson,
the
Robert Wood Johnson has nothing to do with this transaction.
Okay, so Robert Wood Johnson, and then professional leasing and Rutgers are the three.
Professional leasing was running the retail on a long-term lease. Robert Wood Johnson and Rutgers jointly own the parking garage.
Okay.
Rutgers owns all the, Rutgers is 70% of the project.
So those would be the entities responsible for
That's
holding the
condo.
meetings and
That's the-
having
That's
the
the
condo.
condo, that's right.
Okay, I'll check with them. Can you just tell me, where is professional leasing based out of? What city or?
And
What state?
Hamilton? I think?
I believe they're in Hamilton, New Jersey.
Hamilton, I believe.
Okay, thank you. I'll follow up with them.
Okay, thanks.
Roll call on the first resolution, Chair. Commissioner Simpson?
Yes.
Commissioner Giorgiani?
Yes.
Commissioner Romando?
Yes.
Chair?
Yes,
Motion passes 4-0. Shall I read the second resolution?
yeah, 15.
Resolution 15, Actors Redevelopment Authority is a resolution approving a lease agreement between the Housing and Urban Development Authority of the City of New Brunswick and the Parking Authority of the City of New Brunswick.
Well, I spoke, this is a new 25-year lease.
Sorry, need a motion or second?
I'm sorry, motion
That's
second.
okay?
Yeah.
Motion.
I put those together because one relates to the other, but this is a 25-year lease with the parking authority, whereby they're gonna pay by August 1st, $810,000 to the housing authority. Housing authority's gonna use that to pay off all of its debts, so there'll be no more debt. The parking authority, after they pay their expenses, the taxes, there's an in lieu tax agreement, the management fee, and build up a reserve, will split everything thereafter 50-50 with the housing authority. Now, there are 6 tenants there. There's a hairdresser, there's a sushi place, there's a
Coffee.
new hidden coffees, there's hidden
Grounds.
Hidden grounds is coming, there's a coffee shop, there's a hamburger place. And all of them, except for the sushi place, is relatively current, so the sushi place is gonna be a problem, because they owe substantial money, but I forgot to tell you, whatever money that professional leasing is owed is being assigned to us. So if we have to sue anybody to put people out, we can put them out, and if we have to sue to try and collect, we can. I don't give a lot of hope collecting it, but they're assigning not only the money, but anything that's owed to them. And there's an in lieu tax agreement with the city, which will pay, the parking lot have to pay about a little more than $4 a square foot to the city, and they'll collect that from the tenants. And the tenants, in addition to their base rent, they pay an in lieu tax payment, and then they pay the common charge, which is the utilities and also whatever the condo association charges, based upon their square footage, they pay that also.
Now, the pilot is just on the commercial and
That's on the
parking?
commercial.
Just on the commercial,
That's on the
because
commercial.
Rutgers doesn't.
I don't know what Rutgers has,
Okay.
or the hospital has with them, but it's- we only dealt with the commercial, which is, as I say, about 3% of the project was like a $55 million project when it was built back in 1994. I was involved in it, I should remember how old I am, but it's now, but 26 years old.
No, I'm following what he's saying, people got from the debt.
That's gone, and you're gonna get 125 grand, which is nice now, and
They
you're
don't
gonna
have
get
the responsibility.
half the profits after all the expenses, without any more responsibility.
Every rude got in somewhere. I get that.
Any other question? Any question from the public?
Yeah, just a quick one. I want to ask, does the authority have any plans for what to do with the, $125,000, $126,000
They'll become part of our operating, programs that'll go into the general operations side.
So nothing specific?
Commissioner Simpson?
Yes.
Mr. Giorgiani?
Yes.
Commissioner Armando?
Yes.
Chair?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Council. Shall I go on to regular?
Yeah.
Resolution. Resolution number 12 is a resolution approving payment of bills for the month of April 2016.
Yes.
Thanks, John.
I have the units.
You want to give them all? So we don't keep them together. I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, was there a motion in a second? I'm sorry.
She's made a motion?
Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay.
This is for what, resolution?
Resolution number 12. Commissioner Simpson?
Yes.
Commissioner Giorgiani?
Yes.
Commissioner Ovando? Chair?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Resolution number 13 is a resolution authorizing and approving the state of New Jersey budget for all programs and operations for FY 6/30/17.
Make a motion.
I'm sorry, Giorgiani, and second was Ovando?
Yes.
Okay.
Want to go over?
Sure, as you know, every year we have to put in a state budget. This will be actually back before you again next month because we did not get our actual capital component until too late to submit the state budget. So we'll be asking you, as we did last year, to submit the state budget again on a delayed basis because of the delay in our capital fund distribution. They don't operate on the same, the state and the federal government don't operate on the same time frame or calendar, so.
So it has to be presented at the same time.
Correct, yeah, so we're adopting the budget with those numbers that we now know. However, the submission will be what they consider, even though it's going in, it's still going to be considered a delayed submission because of that.
So we have to vote on it twice.
At the next meeting, correct, we'll ask you to vote on a delayed submission based on that.
Okay.
I'll make a motion on that.
Oh, you have a motion,
No,
second.
you have a motion already.
Commissioner Simpson?
Yes.
Commissioner Giorgiani?
Yes.
Commissioner Rondo?
Yes.
Chair?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
16.
Resolutions, I just gotta find myself here. 16
Yeah.
is a resolution approving the award of contract for architect and engineering services to Joseph F. McKiernan Jr.
Make a motion to accept.
I'll second it.
And what is these plans for?
So the eight, as you may or may not know, we do an annual public solicitation for certain professional services. Architectural and engineering services are typically one of those. They work on everything from renovation rehabs to fencing projects to upgrades to systems, anything that would require an architect or engineer's work over an annual basis. And it's a solicitation that we do publicly every year, along with the other professional services. So you'll see architect and engineer, you'll see lawyer, you'll see a management consultant, things of that nature on an annual basis. Those are publicly solicited.
This is not retaining.
No retainers.
Okay.
You said no retain?
Retainers,
No,
yeah,
retaining.
we don't pay.
So you just pay them per project?
It's a fee, it's a fee for service.
For service,
Fee for service, correct.
And you've been using this guy a while?
They've been the successful responder for some time. I'm not really sure how many years, but years.
But we had other bids.
We only had one responder
Well,
this time.
one
Yeah, we only got one responder this time to the
Because I
public.
remember you used to have 2 or 3.
In the past, we've had some,
Yeah.
some as many as 10 sometimes, but
Yeah.
depending on the year.
Any other questions?
Commissioner Simpson?
Yes.
Commissioner Giorgiani?
Yes.
Commissioner Robondo?
Yes.
Chair?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Resolution authorizing and approving contract with Manfredi and Pellecchio to provide general legal services to the Housing Authority of the City of New Brunswick.
Want to go over that?
I'll make a motion.
More, I'm sorry.
I'll second that.
As I just said, this is another one of those professional services. It's a fee-for-service agreement for general legal services for a period of 12 months.
I assume that this is Mr. Manfredi?
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay.
Commissioner Simpson?
Yes.
Commissioner Giorgiani?
Yes.
Commissioner Robondo? Chair?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. That's all I have.
Any questions from the public?
Good evening, members of the board, public. again, Charles Cradaville. I'm with New Brunswick today, and I wanted to ask about what the Housing Authority is doing for the resident who serves here. I looked up old articles, and I saw a lot of good things that the Housing Authority did, like scholarship programs. Can you tell me, in the past year, has how many scholarships the authority has, given out?
So, Mr. Chair, we have a scholarship program in perpetuity with Middlesex County. It's $1,500. We put aside $35,000 in an account, and it gets awarded annually to public or assisted housing individuals who qualify for the program. So this past year, I believe they gave out 1 or 2 grants. I can find out more information on that for you.
1 or 2
But
to
it's
people
15
in New Brunswick.
It's for assisted housing residents of New Brunswick. So if you live in a Section 8, a public housing, or any other affordable housing project
Okay,
within
so
the
it's
city.
1 or 2.
Yeah, I believe it's 1 or
over the
2.
course of a year. Okay, I know that the authority used to do more, and I think that, if you have money coming in, that would be a good use of it. I also wanted to ask about what is the present use of the Scott Holman building. I know it used to be things going on there. I recall reading about job training program, other things like that. Can you tell me what happened to those programs and what's done there presently?
So we actually had 2 job training programs that were grants that ran out. They were biannual grants, so they were 2-year programs. One was a apprentice program for carpentry and computers, and the other was a computer training program. Right now, we are looking for a program. So we've actually had a couple of meetings with Rutgers and talked to some students actually at Middlesex County who are interested in putting together possibly some resident computer training programs. But as of right now, that property is not being used for any active programs. I do also believe that at one point we were looking to try to maybe convert that into a full-time training center, but we were unable to get a proposal that would operate it as a full-time component. But as of right now, it's pretty much set up, it's ready and able. When we ran out of the grant funds, we shut the program down. So we really just are looking for a program at this point.
Okay, can you just tell me when did the program get shut down?
I believe the last time we had a program in there was 2012.
Okay, sorry.
Oh.
So, respectfully, I'd like to suggest that, the authority try to use that space. If you're waiting on a grant or something, that's one thing, but, in the meantime, it could be a good place for, kids or something. I know, you put some stuff for kids to do there, computers or whatever. It could be good, and it could be affordable and reasonable. And if you have this money coming in, additional money coming in the future from this agreement with the parking authority, that would be wise, because I know that's one of the chief issues that people have is not enough to do for kids.
Okay, that's a good suggestion.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I also wanted to ask about something I read about Building Better Futures, Inc., I think was the name of a project that the Housing Authority was involved in. Something that's supposed to continue the work of DevCo in some way. Does this ring a bell? Maybe.
Building a Better Future is a company which is located in Metuchen. I don't know if they do housing.
There was a not-for-profit, you talking about not-for-profit?
Yeah, I think so.
There were, at one point, there was ideas about utilizing a not-for-profit component, but I don't think it ever generated anything.
Didn't come to fruition.
No.
I don't know if they even exist now.
But I think there is an actual company called
Yeah,
that
yeah,
now.
yeah.
I think in Edison?
In Metuchen.
Oh, okay.
Metuchen.
Maybe
I know they
somewhere
come
like
to the housing, New Jersey Housing to do affordable housing finance.
I think it's Building Futures.
Building future, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's Building Better Futures.
I'll have to double check exactly what it was, but thank you for clarifying that. I wanted to ask, does the Housing Authority do anything to test the drinking water in its properties?
We actually, we had a,
Had a man come to
I was gonna say.
Gretchen Spencer, 2 Jennings. Had a man come to my house to check the water because I know that used to be some of the best water in the world out there. But when it changed on me, I started went to bottled water because something was right years ago. This is before I even realized that the drinking water in New Brunswick was tainted. And I kept asking about the city, about the water and whatnot. So they came, they said the water was okay and everything, but you know, I still drink bottled water myself. Because it doesn't taste the same.
So I believe that was 2015?
That was
Early
last,
15?
that was
Early
last year when
2015?
they came.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I noticed a change in the water in the city a long time ago because I called the water department and talked with somebody, and they told me the water was okay in New Brunswick, and I kept saying something ain't right because it got a different taste to it. But then come to find out with all this mess that happened downtown, that something was wrong with the water after it got out. And I knew, you know, you could taste the difference in something after you've been drinking it for years. So I don't know about out here, but my water was good at my apartment over here. Okay, but that's the first time anybody ever came to my apartment and tested water, so.
And that was like a one-off thing, it was a complaint-based, you know, one apartment was tested.
Well, that's when
Or was
I went
that-
down to City Hall and I asked
Yeah, we
them.
don't,
I had asked them because I noticed.
The water utility did it,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, because I had been calling them for years about the water wasn't right. Something was wrong with it, and that's when they found out all this other stuff was going on and
Yeah,
stuff.
so I wanted to raise a point. I think that it would behoove the board, like any public or private agency, to have regular testing of the water. Even brand-new buildings can have problems with the water, and these buildings are certainly around here not even close to brand-new. I know that the school system did testing. They found 6 of their buildings had unacceptable levels of lead in the water, and the one school that had the most problems was McKinley, where the students who live in this neighborhood go. And of course, as you know, children are very vulnerable to lead. So it would behoove the authority to test the water in all their properties on a regular basis, and it's just something I advised the parking authority to do the same thing just an hour ago. It's something that you don't want to be, you don't want to find out after it's too late. You want to do the testing regularly, and so that's hopefully a constructive suggestion. I did want to ask for an update on the situation with the parking violations and the investigation into that. Is there any update yet?
like I said, we've completed that. There's an internal document. I'd be happy to talk to you about it offline if you'd like to talk about that maybe next week.
But the investigation's been completed?
Correct, yes.
Okay, the last meeting it was said it was going to be a
Yes.
couple more weeks, but it's over.
Yeah.
So is the authority still issuing violations now?
No, we have not.
Not this year.
We're actually, that's one of the discussions we're gonna have with the parking authority as well, to talk about looking at doing some joint items from that going forward. So we have, that is still in place.
Okay, because I was shocked to see how many tickets it was and how many of them were $50. It was really quite a burden.
You have additional comment?
I do.
Make a comment on what Charlie said about the water. Being that I live in New Brunswick, I assume everybody that drinks water in New Brunswick is drinking New Brunswick water, her downtown. When you went to the water commission and they told you the water was whatever, did you get anything in writing from them what that specifically means? I mean, being that you're doing all this investigation, I'm just saying, did they give you something that says what level? I don't like generalities when we talk about these things.
Sure, I'd be happy
Obviously, it's
to
on the
explain.
water department, it's not on the housing authority. So did they give you any specifics as far this red line, this blue line, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's a little more complicated. That in 2013, the city and the DEP admitted that they had been falsifying the records. They had been lying to the public about the safety of the water.
In New
And-
Brunswick?
Yeah, and it was a thing where there were several times, I think 6 or 7 times, that people should have been told, boil the water before you use it, and they weren't told, and that was a citywide thing. The issue of lead in the water is a specific issue that can affect one house and the house next to it not affected, because it's all dependent on the pipes. So that's a different issue, and that's kind of a newer issue because of all the attention that's been on the issue of lead in the water, the Board of Ed decided to test all their schools, and they found some bad news. They found that 6 of them had unacceptable levels, and they're working on that. So that's...
One more question or comment you have?
Okay, sum it all up here.
Okay, that's good.
One kind of comment. I know that there is pending litigation regarding 2 of my OPRA requests, or maybe it's 3 of my OPRA requests. But since then, there's also been other OPRA requests that I've filed and have received no response to. So the Housing Authority is almost inviting another lawsuit by not responding. These OPRAs are separate from the others, and I still have a right to file them, and the Housing Authority has an obligation to at least respond. If you need an extension, say so. If the records don't exist or you don't have them, say so. But don't just leave me hanging. I have requests for March 8th. I filed 2 requests. One of them was very simple. I just wanted the resume and the application for the Director of Operations and anybody else who put in for that job. That should be a pretty simple thing. I've received 0 response. I've also requested a video of an incident you're familiar with, and another incident that was a shooting in New Brunswick, and those OPRAs received no response. And when I ask for videos in an OPRA, I specify, make sure to say, please, if you disagree and you don't think I'm entitled to it, please at least preserve the video so the issue can be properly litigated in Superior Court. And I heard through my attorney that it's possible that the Housing Authority didn't do that with the video, the first video I requested in February. Can you please ask your attorney, is that true, that the Housing Authority disregarded the instructions to preserve the video and that it's actually destroyed the records that I've asked for?
Mr. Chairman, I need to interrupt you. Mr. Crabtree has just referenced the conversation that he's had with an attorney, and I've dealt with that attorney. We can't comment on this. I'm bound ethically, and I spoke to your attorney to say that anything that's the subject of the lawsuit, you did just reference something, I have to deal with him. If there are things outside of the suit, as Mr. Crabtree indicated, I can speak to him later about that and would be happy to do so. I just want to observe the proper ethical boundaries here that we must observe.
Okay, thank you.
Well, one final comment. I'm very concerned if the Housing Authority has destroyed the records I've asked for. That's unacceptable. You should not do that. And the judge probably won't be happy about that either. It should be, you should preserve the records.
Chairman, we can't comment on this. Is absolutely a matter of subject of litigation. It's protected conversation that I've had with opposing counsel. So this matter is not an appropriate subject for the record at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Well, what about the March request, though? What about the recent request? Does the Housing Authority have a policy of not responding?
Actually, Mr. Chairman, if I may, if Mr. Crabtree, if I may address him directly, if that's not a subject of the pending lawsuit as you've indicated, I will communicate directly with you on that.
And when can I expect?
I'll do it after this meeting.
Got it. Talk to you then.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Okay. Ma'am,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bertha Spencer, 2 Jennings Court, New Brunswick. I'm trying to find out, my biggest problem is these apartments over here. Pipes are busting left and right. Band-Aid on top of Band-Aid on top of Band-Aid on top of Band-Aid. They need to be tore down.
Which ones are they?
Robeson sorts.
Oh, yeah.
Pipes are busting. I live next to a neighbor. That apartment's been leaking for umpteen years, since I moved in that apartment. People done moved out, a 3rd family done moved in. Now they have, furniture got messed up, chair full of water, leaking from the ceiling. That pipe from the tub has been leaking for years. Then I got other people coming to me telling me they got pipes after pipes busting.
Have you reported that to the?
I told them it was their apartments to call, okay?
Gretchen, what unit is that? I'm sorry.
23 Bergen next to me.
Okay, thank you.
Then I had other apartments. Now they're putting in new floors where they said the floors had accordions. The floors are being, the steam pipes are busting and messing up their floors and stuff. These are different apartments around Robeson Village.
But you have advised them to?
Yeah.
And they haven't done
And
that
they're
yet?
doing it, but what I'm saying is, This has been going on for years off and on. You fix it and then it pipes it, and then the water is leaking, messing up people's furniture, you know what I'm saying? Stuff in their apartments, they're leaking overhead or whatever. These apartments are nothing but, you're getting Band-Aids, they need to be rebuilt. It's plain and simple. Because it's a mess out there. They got the maintenance running like a chicken with their head cut off. When they get finished with one thing, somebody done call about a pipe being busted or something. And people are coming to me saying, I don't know what to do. I said, you call housing, you go over there and you let them know. But when you start hearing about too many pipes being busted, and one girl was throwing water out her window, I looked out the window and said, well, she said, my pipe busted. And I called and let them know, but they're not, when they get there, their stuff is messed up already. I got ready to move, the pipe in my apartment started leaking. You know what I'm saying? It's just the radiators. They're messing up floors, and they gotta put in new floors. These apartments really need to be tore down and rebuilt like everything else. Because I think it's a shame. People shouldn't have to live like this over there. My apartment I just moved into, the floor is so bumpy. It's a shame. My refrigerator's sitting on an angle. My etagere is wobbly. The floor is uneven. And windows, I got Wendy hollering at me when it gets windy outside. You can hear her coming through the windows. So these apartments really need to be torn down and rebuilt. The water system, you got backups in spots. I done moved into 3 apartments since I've been living out here, and each time the sink leaks.
Yeah, one issue is.
And the pipings are old. Underneath the building, the pipings are busting. The floors are going into accordion effect. Everything needs to be redone. The buildings are listing to one side. So that when you drop something, automatically roll the opposite direction. You know what I'm saying? You got pipings, one foundation was here. I've been out here 50 years. It's right there. Okay? Everything needs to be fixed. That's all I'm saying. Everything needs to be torn down and rebuilt. Because when you're wasting money putting Band-Aid on top of Band-Aid on top of Band-Aid. Especially when you got the same apartment that keeps leaking water. They fix that one and then go in the living room and say, Miss Gretchen, come here, look. Water the next night leaking out of the radiator from upstairs. It's, especially when you got it coming from one whole unit and everybody's starting to leak and whatnot. Something has got to be done, and putting Band-Aid and wasting money is not getting it. This is just a big money pit over here for other people. It ain't helping the housing authority, it's just wasting money. And that's my suggestion.
Thank you.
Just a quick, I do want to say Gretchen is excellent at telling tenants to always report smaller problems before they become larger issues. And the challenge often becomes from a maintenance and management standpoint. People don't report the smaller problem until it is a much larger issue. And by then, we're redoing floors and pipes.
And when they do that, a lot of times what they do is they think they're going to be charged for everything.
Yeah, we don't charge for leaks. We try
And I keep trying to tell people about this. You call them before it gets to be a big problem. And then when it becomes a big problem, it starts becoming a problem for the next neighbor, the next neighbor. And I've been out here 50 years, and it's time for these apartments to be given up and redone.
Let me ask you a question. I mean, being that the town of New Brunswick and also over there in Somerset did a great job with Parkside, seems like everything is becoming new around here except these apartments.
Yeah.
I don't know, just being on the board since September, I don't know what is the financial situation as far as looking into that, John? That is there a possibility that in stages or whatever that it is time for these things to be torn out?
So as you know, the properties downtown, when we used to have Memorial Homes, there was a federal program called the Hope 6 program, which we've utilized. HUD no longer has that program available. The state has existing tax credit programs that are being utilized, but those are not public housing programs. The HUD Hope 6 program was a public housing program, and we're a public housing property. So we're always open to innovative ideas and ways that we can try to renovate or rehab, do major rehab projects. The challenge becomes it has to be for a public housing program, and many of those are through HUD. The RAD program is one of those options, but it also requires a substantial amount of resources be given from towns and local municipalities, which at this time, with the budget strains of other entities, it's very challenging. But we haven't given up. We would love to do a renovation and major rehab project up here, and we're open to doing that at any point in the future, should those programs come back. And even utilizing, some of the tax credit programs. I know HMFA now is even talking about some initiatives that they're looking at to maybe do something and partner with local authorities and housing authorities to do something like Hope 6 was. But quite frankly, Hope 6 is gone now, and it was a fantastic program, as many of you know, when we were able to renovate and rehab the units, Hope Banner, Riverside, and similarly Parkside was able to utilize a similar component and program where it was like Hope 6, where they were able to do units over there, and they're fantastic.
So all that's gone right now, you're saying all that's gone?
There are no available programs of that nature right now that give those types of resources for rehabs. It's just not in the federal budget anymore. Now, as far as phases go, absolutely, if we can try to phase and stage things and do things of that nature, we're open to that. But as Gretchen said, at this point, we're just trying to hold it together and keep things moving and get it.
It's hard to move furniture through the doors ain't but so wide,
Everything's.
I'm living in I went from a bigger apartment, 1 bedroom, to one floor, because I can't climb steps no more, to a smaller apartment with only 2 closets and no place to store nothing. My house looked like World War 40 in there with all that stuff I got in there, and I got to sort through it. Because I have no place to put anything. So now I'm giving stuff away to people that are moving in and out here. I gave them dishes, I gave, kids starting out, I'm giving them stuff away. But I have nowhere to store anything. I had a gorilla shelf. Now I got to downsize because I'm living in the bathroom. The wall is right here, the toilet's here, and the sink is right here, and next to the sink is a tub with that much space, and it's hard to clean in between that space. So it's like, and the bathroom, if I sit down, you can touch the wall. So it's like, and the toilet paper is up here. I mean, like, literally, I got to reach up here for it. So there's no space. I'm living in a shoebox. So, and if I could, I would have stayed where I was at, but I can't climb them steps no more. So, I've been thinking in my head how to redesign this whole area.
Yeah, additional questions from the board? Okay, motion to adjourn?
I'll just give it
Make
a
a
thought.
motion to adjourn.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Giorgiani?
Yes, make a
Okay.
motion to adjourn.
Oh. Ready?
Yeah.
Commissioner Simpson?
Yes.
Commissioner Giorgiani?
Yes.
Commissioner Rivando?
Yes.
Chair?
Yes,
Passes 4-0. Thank you.
thank you for your comments, man.
Thank you.
Nobody
Wow.
built.